when you write a paper, there has to be a reason that you're writing it. And a thesis statement is one way to create a structure for your paper. A thesis statement is a position. It lays out a position that you've arrived at based on your research. So if we go back to this idea of the Colorado River Delta, which is the place where the Colorado River ends, and every river ends at an ocean, and the place where it ends at an ocean, that's called the delta. And many rivers are drying up, and then their deltas are not getting enough water. This actually matters for environmental reasons. I'm not going to go into this here. But if you're going to write a paper on why it's drying up, you might have some thinking based on what you've read about why that is. Is it because politicians in Washington have decided that the water of the Colorado River is going to be used for American industry? And then you can say, the Colorado River Delta is drying up, and the argument of this paper is that it's decisions made in Washington that are leading to that. And that right there, that's just a sentence, but it lets you structure your paper, because then now you know, what are you going to do in this paper? You're going to try to prove that that's the case. So you're going to have some evidence. You're going to have some data that, from congressional records or law proceedings or somewhere that shows that this is happening. On the other hand, you could have a different argument. The argument could be that it's drying up because of climate change. And then you would have different data, and that would structure your paper differently. You might say the Colorado River Delta is drying up because the climate's getting hotter, and it's not snowing as much, so we don't have a snowpack, and the river isn't running with as much water, and it doesn't reach the delta. But then you would be looking for other information, and you'd be structuring your paragraphs and building your argument about how the climate has changed over the last 100 years and how much water there is in the river. So having your thesis statement is just a way to make a decision about what your paper is about, what you're going to try to show in your paper. You can keep coming back to that as you're writing each paragraph. You can come back and say, "Ooh, is this paragraph helping me explain what I think what I said I was going to do?" So the thesis statement is a statement of is a position that you're going to argue in the paper. That's all that it is. And if you don't have some kind of argument, then what are you writing your paper about? Because we don't really do just book reviews. Book review is how you learn to write in elementary school, where you just summarize what someone else did, and that's important to know how to do. But when you're writing a social science paper, you're doing more than just summarizing one person's work. You might have 5 or 6 people's work, and you have to take from each of them. And how do you know what to take? And you only know what to take if you have figured out what it is you want to try to argue.